What's going on, guys? Justin here, again with another EXP share. So, last week we ranted about Lasership and what a horrible company they are. So, I have another rant. It's not quite as scathing this time, but we are going to talk about Amway. So, for those of you that are not familiar with Amway, they are a money level marketing campaign, if you want to even call it a campaign. Well, anyway, so Amway. So, how did I get involved in this? Well, a friend came over and they were telling me about what, that they had been doing this and it had been working out for them. And I thought, hey, that'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind making a little extra money a month. So there was that. And by the way, if she for some reason happens to watch this and figure out, that I'm making this, this is definitely not me throwing shade at her. This business plan has clearly worked for her, and I think that's awesome. I'm not going to knock something that's successful for somebody else. But I'm going to say that Amway did not work for me. Now, I'm going to say that everyone's like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, it's this, it's that. And in a way, you're not wrong. But I'm going to say that I do think it is a legit business. I mean, they've been around since the 50s. So they're obviously doing something right. But personally, I was not a fan of a lot of their business practices. So, I guess before I go ahead and talk about the bad stuff, I'll talk about the good stuff. So, I will say that it was good to know that I'm not crazy in thinking about what works today and what doesn't. Now, look, if somebody wants to go to college, get a job, and it works for them, great. I'm not here to take that from you. I personally feel that the economy is so much different now than it was when my parents and even my grandparents were growing up. When they were growing up, you went to college, you got a job. Like, even if you were the guy that partied the whole semester, you pretty much got a job. Like, that wasn't an issue. And also, your student loans were much cheaper back then. And I do agree with them on that. That it's kind of like changing with the times kind of thing. I feel like today, honestly, you almost need to create your own income. So, I will say I'm glad we agreed on that. Just like when they talked about trading time for dollars versus like investments. I totally agree with that. That's exactly why I pulled out of the industry I was in. Because I knew that the only way for me to make more money was to go into management. And I knew with management, I was never going to have a life. Like, I was constantly going to be called into work. I was going to be constantly getting phone calls about dumb questions when I'm, like, out with my family. And as the manager, I wouldn't have had a choice but to answer those calls. So, hey, I'm totally, so I totally agree with them on that. The whole, your time is the most valuable thing. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the bad stuff. So, so after my friend told me about the job, all that good stuff, there was our team lead, and, he was a nice guy, and so was his wife. Something I found really strange is that when we first met, they said, let's meet at, well, I won't name drop the location, but it was a restaurant, and when I got there, because I'm not going to lie, it was like the day between paychecks. I'm like, oh my God, someone, when you don't make a ton of money and someone invites you to a restaurant, oh my God, that's exciting. You're like, oh my God, I can eat a nice meal today. No, we got there and they're like, oh, you can go get a drink, like, as in, you can go pay for this. Well, if Amway is such a successful thing, you can't even afford a drink. It's kind of sad, I think. Not only that, but I've also felt that when you invite someone somewhere, that means you're paying, not they get the check and then you're like, oh, hey, yeah, you pay your half. No, I don't think it works like that. And so there was that, and we discussed the business plan, all that stuff. And at the time, I'm like, Alright, yeah, let's do this. Let's give it a shot. This is where things started to get a little weird. And that's where they said, they wanted me to recruit all my friends to come work for them. But here was the kicker. I couldn't tell anybody I couldn't drop Amway's name. And that was the thing. It's like, that'd be like if you worked for Walmart and your boss says you can't say you work for Walmart. You have to say you work at a big box department store. Now, why is your company so bad that you can't even say the name? Like, that's not a company I want to work for. And I really didn't like lying to my friends. Because the other thing is, like, did they think my friends and family weren't going to ask what the business plan was? Like, did they think that they were just going to take me saying we're starting a business, we want you to work for us? Like, did they think they weren't going to ask questions? I mean, I know I would. So there was that. And, then they invited me to an info session. And it was interesting. It was kind of, it was interesting to, like, see that people kind of had that entrepreneur mindset I did. I thought that was awesome. Because, like I said, I feel like a lot of people don't quite understand what I'm trying to do. And they said, you have to come to the info sessions every Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll learn something different the next week. Okay, so I went. It was basically the same thing as the week before. There was a couple things that the speaker the next week talked about. And, stuff I hadn't heard in the other ones. So I'm like, okay, good. I learned something new. Week 3 rolled around. Hey, I learned something new today. That was interesting. And week 4 started to roll around, and I'm like, this is the same shit I've heard the last 3 weeks. Like, why is it so important that I come here every week? And it was irritating because it's like, I could be out making money. Like, I mean, it got to the point where I was playing games on my phone during the info sessions because, like I said, they were regurgitating the same shit every day. It'd be like if your math teacher just covered chapter 1 every single week. Like, okay, like, what's the point of even coming to class? So I pretty much stopped showing up to the info sessions. I'm like, fuck this shit. I could be out making money instead of wasting my time in here. And then there was the Sunday team call. Okay, not a problem. But, and it went okay. He made some phone calls, but I guess I feel like here was the problem is there was no structure. There was no organization. And even then, I felt like it was kind of the same shit we were talking about in the team meeting. I'm sorry, not the team meeting, the info session. So I'm like, well, once again, why am I wasting my time doing this when I could be out making money? And then there was the point where I get all registered for the business. Cool. Oh, by the way, now they say you get a full refund if you cancel your membership. By the way, if you are in Amway and you're thinking about canceling before 90 days, make sure you cancel LTD too. Yeah, they didn't want to tell me that. They just said, oh, just cancel it. So I called Amway, canceled it, and then I get charged for LTD. Well, they didn't tell me I had to cancel both if I was quitting. So if you were in Amway and thinking about quitting before 90 days, yeah, cancel with LTDs too. So there was that. And also another thing that I saw someone else bring up in an Amway article. If your products are so good, why are you putting so much emphasis on the social media side of things? And all that, that's a great point. Why? That would be like if you had an Etsy store and rather than talk about the Etsy store, you were just like, oh, like us on Instagram, like us on Facebook. It's like, what, are your products so bad that you can't discuss them? I mean, the products I didn't think were that great anyway. So, Like, I mean, those energy drinks, because I drink energy drinks, but their energy drinks weren't that good. They were healthier, yes, but not very good. And then that's the thing, they want you to buy your own products, which I thought, hey, cool, I don't mind. But then it's like, when you factor in the shipping, and even the price of some of the stuff, like, it wasn't that really worth it. Like, I bought a little thing of hair gel that I probably could have gotten at the drugstore for like $8. It costed me around $20 with shipping and everything. Like, I'm not paying $20 for hair gel I could get at the store for $8. I'm good. Something else about the way the things are run. So, something that always got me, now maybe I'm different from a lot of people, but when people want to work for me, like when I run a business, when I get people to work for me, I don't get too personal because, what people do in their personal time is like on them. But I want to try to, I guess in a way, try to get to know you a little bit, so that way it just kind of feels like you're working with a friend. It's not like you're going to work with a boss and a time card. And something that always kind of weirded me out, well, not weirded me out, but I thought was different, was the team lead. Now, to be fair, towards the end, he did say, hey, why don't me, my wife, you, and your fiance come have dinner with us one time. No business discussion. Okay, I mean, that was very nice of them, but at the same time, I'm thinking, why didn't you do this from the start? And even then, like, not that I was always trying to get off topic, because I think it's important to stay focused when doing a business, but I always found it really strange that, unless I was talking about Amway or something related to Amway, you didn't care what I had to say. Or at least that's the impression I got, was that you weren't interested in anything I had to say. And, around the time, they invited me to dinner, which I'm sure I would have ended up paying for. At least me and my fiance. Well, anyway, that was because I was thinking about quitting at the time. And, we had talked, blah, blah, blah. But then I finally was like, yeah, I'm quitting. This isn't for me. Like, it's just not worth the money. It's a time and a money sink. No phone call, no text, no nothing. So yeah, it was, like I said, I just feel like if you're running a business, try to get to know people a little more. Go out for drinks, go out to dinner, like, just go hang out at the park or something. Build relationships. Don't just, oh, you're a dollar sign here to help me make money. Now, do I think Amway is a pyramid scheme? I'm a little torn on that. I feel like it's kind of teetering on the fence of a pyramid scheme, because the more people you have on your team, like, the more money you'll make, and then you're supposed to encourage the person below you to add people so they can make money. So I feel like in a way it's a pyramid scheme, and in a way it's not. I mean, like I said, it's all kind of like, I guess what they would call headcanon. Like, to me, a pyramid scheme is I make money and the person below me doesn't make shit. So, like I said, you could if you told me it was a pyramid scheme, well, I'm probably not going to argue with you. But yeah, it's just, I thought they had a lot of shady business practices. Like, I don't want to work for a company where I have to lie to my friends and family. In fact, there's a crack.com article I'll link in the description. And so many people on there were talking about how they or someone they knew did Amway, and they lost so many friends because they want you to, like, harass them, into joining your business or supporting your business. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather work for a company where I can be proud to say the name out loud. And that's why, like, I'm trying to keep my identity as secret as possible on here, but, like, my business, I want to be able to say the name of what I do. I want to be able to talk about the products without feeling like I'm embarrassed about things. So, yeah, I'm really glad I didn't stick with Amway. Like I said, I just thought it was a time and a money sink. Like, that bothered me. That and the lies bothered me a lot more than the whole pyramid scheme thing. Because, like I said, and that's the other thing. It's kind of funny that for a company that talks about how valuable your time is, they sure do waste a lot of your time. Another thing I feel like they don't really tell you is that some of the higher up people, who I definitely will not name drop, they're making pretty good money, like $250,000 a year. But what I feel like, I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not making all this money selling soaps and cleaning products and health and beauty stuff. I'm pretty sure they're getting paid to show up at conventions. They're getting paid to record audios. I don't really think any of that had to do with, the products they sell. I don't buy that for a second. I mean, I'll admit at the time I kind of did, so I thought, hey, why not? I'll usually believe something until you prove me otherwise, depending on what it is. So, yeah, bottom line, if you like this company, hey, good for you. I'm glad something worked for you that didn't work for me. Me personally, I thought it was a time and a money sink, and I am all the more happier to be out of it. So anyway, comment below if you guys worked for Amway. Did it work for you? Or did you ever try Amway and it didn't work for you? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below.